I'm ready. Are you ready to go?
We are ready to go.
Okay. Well, good evening. We'll call the Tuesday, January 25, 2022 Urbandale City Council meeting to order. I ask clerk to take roll call, please.
Blake? Carberry Montgomery?
Here.
Kroll?
Here.
McBurney?
Here.
Obrecht?
Here.
Thank you.
Please stand as you can for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Urbandale is a national leader in character counts, endeavoring at all times to promote and model the principles of trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. In conducting tonight's meeting, we expect that all participants will act in a respectful manner consistent with these principles. Item 3 is citizens forum, and would anyone like to address the council on something not a part of tonight's agenda? I see John in the background, maybe John's still. We'll move on. Item 4, the adoption of minutes first from the January 11 meeting.
And Mayor Andeweg, if we could do a motion to approve the agenda, that would be to approve the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, I went right over it. Item 2 is to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda. Second.
Okay. Motion by Kroll, second by Carberry Montgomery. Discussion, please vote. All right, thank you, that passes. I'm sorry, I skipped over that. Now we will move to the adoption of the minutes from the January 11 meeting.
I'll move approval of the city council work session, January 11th, 2022 meeting.
Motion by Carberry Montgomery,
I'll second it.
second by Kroll. Discussion, please vote. That passes.
I'll further move the city council meeting minutes from January 11th,
Motion by
2022.
Carberry Montgomery,
I'll second it.
second by Kroll. Discussion, please vote. That passes. Item 5 is the consent agenda. We are going to pull item 5.18 from the consent agenda, but I'll ask for a motion in a second to approve the remainder.
Move to approve consent agenda items 1 through 17.
Motion by Obrecht, second by Blake. Discussion, please vote. That passes. And then Nicole, on the next one, do you want to do this by voice vote or do you have it in the system? Okay, so then I'll ask for a motion in a second to approve item 5.18.
Move to approve item 5.18.
Okay, motion by Obrecht,
Second.
second by Carberry Montgomery. Discussion, please vote. And I believe Councilmember McBurney is going to be abstaining on this one. And that passes. All right, thank you. Item 6 is to establish public hearings. First is item 6.1 and do regarding preliminary assessments from Meredith Drive to Waterford Road. John Larson would answer questions if there are. We have a series of motions that we need to approve on this one.
Do I need to approve the numbers or
Just,
can I approve the council letter?
No, just go through, we start with the first one, approve ordinance number 2022-03. And then
Okay.
on line.
Okay, I approve the first reading of ordinance 2022-03.
Motion by Carberry Montgomery, second by Blake. Discussion, please vote. That passes.
Move approval of resolution 022-2022.
Motion by Carberry Montgomery, second by Blake. Discussion, please vote. That passes.
I move approval of resolution 23-2022.
Motion by Carberry Montgomery, second by Blake. Discussion, please vote. That passes.
move approval of Resolution 24-2022.
Motion by Montgomery, second by Blake. Discussion, please vote. That passes.
I'll move approval of Resolution 25-2022.
Motion by Carberry Montgomery, second by Blake. Discussion, please vote. And that passes. All right, moving on to item 6.2 is to establish the public hearing for the 2022 PCC Patch Program Phase 2. John, again, want to answer any questions if there are?
Just actually, quick question. I know in the past we've kind of split this up for bonding capacity. Is that still an issue of why we split these up between phase 1 and phase 2?
No, this is John. Actually, it's due to the size of the project. I think if we tried doing all one project that was a couple million or $2.5 million project, it would, one, really limit the contractors that can work on the project. And I think they would have a hard time getting it done in our one construction season also.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
Move resolution 16-2022.
Motion by Obrecht,
Second.
second by Kroll. Discussion, please vote. That passes. Item 6.3 is to establish a public hearing for the Douglas Avenue urbanization plantings from Patricia Drive to North Walnut Creek.
I move to approve Resolution 17-2022.
Motion by Kroll,
Second.
second by Obrecht. Discussion, please vote. And that passes. Item 7, planning and zoning items. We have one item, 7.1, the Enterprise Rent-A-Car Building Addition Site Plan at 2551 100th Street. Steve?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. Just one item for you tonight. Okay, there we go. This is a site plan that's proposing a small addition for the existing enterprise on 100th Street. This is the existing building that you see here, kind of a T-shaped with the front door kind of facing southwest. And what is proposed is a 1,200 square foot addition, which is this darkest rectangle you see here, kind of tucked into the footprint of the building, lining up with this north side, and it will be used for a car wash. Planning and Zoning Commission recommends approval, subject to items noted. Be happy to answer any questions. I do have an elevation here I can show you too. Let me put that up real quick. So again, this is the front of the building that you see, and they're gonna tuck it in right behind, lining up with that north end. So it will look just like the rest of the building, just kind of fill in that little gap there where the existing building is. Happy to answer any questions.
Can you orient me? I'm trying to remember.
So this is 100th Street is out
100 is
here.
right there, okay.
Yep,
yeah.
this is the front of the building, kind of faces southwest, and then they'll just tuck this new piece right back in here. So there'll only be doors on this north side.
Yep.
I move to approve Council Letter 6950.
Motion by Kroll. Second by Blake. Discussion, please vote. That item passes. Item 8, regular agenda items versus item 8.1, the Iowa Economic Development Authority, Iowa Reinvestment Act final application for the Merle Hay Reinvestment District. Aaron.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. Aaron DeYoung with the Economic Development Department. Happy to present to you the draft final application for the Reinvestment Act allocation from the state of Iowa through the Iowa Economic Development Authority. To jog you up and remind you why we're doing this, the application, the second round, the final application round is due here at the end of February. It is going to be submitted by the Joint 28E Board, which was established by the cities of Urbandale and Des Moines since the 75-acre district is within both communities. So prior to the 28E Board going and approving the application, it goes to both city councils for their review and approval as well. Des Moines approved it last night, and here we are tonight seeking your approval from here. The application that we submitted back last February did get a provisional award totaling $26.5 million, and that's the rebates of increased sales taxes in that 75-acre, and lodging taxes, excuse me, in the 75-acre district. And I just mentioned to both councils. The application that you see is in your packet is very similar to what you saw a year ago. We did change the allocation amounts. The cost did go up on the arena a little bit, just because that's how it happens, so we had to adjust those costs, and then the funding sources to associate with that. It's being picked up by the Buccaneers, the cost differential. So if there was any questions related to that. Again, here's a map of the 75-acre district covering both the whole campus within the cities of Urbandale and Des Moines. Here's a picture of the master planning map. You can see that the Buccaneers Arena and Training Center will be covering the eastern portion or the western portion of the campus with the future hotel to the north. I should note on this map, there are significant stormwater improvements planned, one being a big detention area on the north part of the campus, as well as detention areas on the south. And then also along the western edge of this is the considered improvement to do a big stormwater conveyance project, which you've had previous meetings about. So that is some big improvements on the stormwater front to get into this project while it's under construction. Looking at the projects, we did do an updated map here showing kind of all the locations for the state board to review and see all the projects that are happening. You can see there, the big one is the arena and the training center at almost $60 million. The hotel, Lillis Lofts, is in the list of projects. It's not in a qualified project, but we wanted to put that because that's a significant investment in the campus. Outdoor plazas, I mentioned the storm sewer upgrade, and then the Kohl's moving, additional retail businesses, new retail to the north, a whole lot of stuff, frankly, and to get totaling almost $140 million of investment over the next few years here on the campus. So again, this application is requesting that $26.5 million allocation through the Reinvestment Act. That'll go to the IEDA board when we submit it. And we're looking for either the March or April meeting for the IEDA board to consider that. And we're gonna be using the allocation to help fund the construction costs of the arena and training center. And again, it's going to be propped up by the increased sales taxes and lodging taxes through a 20-year period, which will be established when our application gets approved. Looking at kind of the Urbandale parts of this, the city's parts, I should say, the big part is the Iowa Reinvestment Act bond, which is anticipated in this. Since it is a future rebate of the $26.5 million, the city is contemplating doing a municipal bond to turn that into a present value for the construction costs. We have in the application that we're estimating that to be about $22 million of the bond to go towards construction. And then that $22 million is anticipated to be paid back through the IRA rebates. Also a TIF rebate on the arena and hotel projects in the draft development agreement we have right now would be a $3 million rebate program for this project. And then all of this would be set in the future development agreement. Once we get the allocation locked in and that type of thing, we can bring to you the development agreement since we know what we would be doing. Back to the timing on the bond, I wanted to mention that. We are anticipating to sell that bond at the same issuance with our regular annual bonding in May and June so that we don't have to do everything twice. We can certainly pivot if the timing isn't right to do that, but that's what we're all shooting for at this time. We wanted to mention the economic impact parts of this project. When we did the pre-application, we did a feasibility study, and we haven't been shouting this from the rooftops as to the benefits of this project, but the numbers speak for themselves. When all these projects are done, our consultants estimated that almost $130 million of new annual spending will be done in the campus, as well as 1,068 new jobs created by the businesses in the district or the businesses that are helping support those business within the plan area. And then $8 million of new annual sales tax revenue. So that's not the sales in it, that's just the taxes that are generated from sales within the 75 acres. So a lot of new activity happening from this project. So that is my presentation. Happy to answer any questions. We're seeking approval of the council letter. We didn't do a resolution on this, similar to how we did with the pre-application. So happy to answer anything you may have questions about.
Aaron, can you go back
Sure.
a couple of slides where I think it said urban, yeah, right there. So explain to me, so are planning to bond against the payments that we'd be receiving annually from the state, and those payments would go to us to then pay off this bond. Is that how most of these projects are
Yes.
funded?
We have an extra step in that the 28E is allocating those rebates to us, but because the 28E is doing that, we can say that Urbandale will be getting the checks or the rebate checks from the state when new sales tax revenue is generated.
Okay.
And then we will allocate those new revenue sources that the city receives from the state as the payment for the bonds.
Okay, so what if then those sales taxes aren't enough?
We would need to backfill it with other revenues during our budgeting process to do that. However, in our estimates, and we're going to do a stress test before we do these bonds with a third-party consultant to prove out the viability of our future payments to mitigate that risk in that happening. So Nikki will be making sure that we're doing this all right throughout the whole process, but that is the backup where we'd have to figure out either through our other funds to backfill that. However, we'll be putting ourselves in a position where that's a very small risk.
So, I mean, I know we've been talking about this for a long time, and this is just not my area of expertise. So basically, we're creating like a TIF district for sales tax based, so
The state
everything.
is, yes.
Right, so, but everything that's in this 75 acres, the sales tax generated in that 75 acres would be eligible to be rebated.
Yes,
word.
it's almost a pure sales tax increment financing. There is a tweak to this where it's only in qualified projects, and I'll go back to this map. There's a reason why, there's a method to these colors, so that projects qualify. A retailer needs to be a part of a project to
Okay.
qualify. So we're setting this up so lots of projects qualify, or lots of retailers qualify. There's only a few that wouldn't qualify on this campus. Basically, it'd be the Starbucks, the IHOP, and the Applebee's, since they wouldn't be doing any improvements. But everyone else would be
So
eligible.
like we would get the Target.
Correct, yeah, increases from the base year at Target would qualify as well.
Okay, so I should start going to that Target.
Yeah.
I mean, I do shop in
Well, it is,
Urbandale,
yeah. I mean, the Target is in Des Moines, however, the sales tax goes,
Yeah.
through the formula, so.
That's a tough call there then.
Yeah,
So, okay. Thank you for that
sure,
explanation.
yep.
I
Yeah,
guess-
let me do the brain damage so I can answer that so you don't have to.
Okay.
Yep.
And I guess I'll follow up on that. So what if we go down this path, Bucks Arena gets built, but the hotel doesn't get built? Is there any sort of performance provisions that they've got to pay back some of the debt if certain things aren't met?
Well, the way that we structured it is that the assistance to the Reinvestment Act is going towards the arena and the training center, so there wouldn't be any things that fall out due to the hotel not happening. How we've structured it right now is that earning the total TIF rebate from the property tax side of it will be awfully difficult if the hotel does not get built. The lodging tax portions of our estimates that are going towards the rebate checks that we'll get from the state is less than 10% of the total expected revenue. So it's kind of more of the tail rather than the dog in this. It's the increase in sales tax and the propping up of the entire mall campus from a sales tax perspective that's really driving this engine.
Well, and just thank you for thinking creatively as a staff to get us to that point. I know there's a lot of work that went into this, so.
Yeah, thank you. Didn't do it alone, but I'll take some credit, yeah.
They sent you up to take the hard questions, so we're going to give you credit.
I can take off that jacket that,
Yes.
yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Aaron. Any further questions for Aaron?
So with, with this being done, what is the timeline then for everything? When do we see construction? When do we think this will start?
Yes, today. So as it sits today, the Buccaneers are in their final stages of selecting a contractor to do it. So that's a big piece of this. They are going through their last pricing. That's why we have this available to you now with new numbers. The current plan right now is once we submit this into the state, we'll know when we'll be figuring out that allocation, and then, March, April, springtime is when they'll start demolition, is the plan, with the ultimate goal of being open for the 23-24 season.
So do they need to wait for this approval then before they can start doing anything?
No, they can start whenever they'd like, having the certainty that the city's contribution would be important, but it's not required.
So they'll probably wait.
The weather will dictate.
Yeah, the costs in this project are in the later stages. So the early stuff is not as big of an outlay. So things could get started, but yeah, certainly you'd want to have everything locked in at the appropriate time.
All right. Anything further? I'll ask for a motion in a second.
I move to approve Council Letter 6951.
Motion by Kroll,
Second.
second by Obrecht. Discussion, please vote. And that passes. All right, thank you. Item 8.2 is the Mid-Iowa Planning Alliance for Community Development Membership. Curtis?
Great. Thank you, Mayor and council members. Just retrace our steps a little bit on how this item got to you tonight. Last summer, staff from the Des Moines Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, we'll call it MPO, convened a group of economic and community development reps to look at the concept of becoming a federally designated economic development district. The reason that happened is if you looked at a map of economic development districts across the country, there's a big white space in central Iowa, which is where we are. The pandemic brought to the MPO's attention that central Iowa too could become an economic development district. There's a few good reasons for doing that. One of them is more coordination for economic development purposes across a wider region, but also, of course, is the opportunity to apply for and access more federal funding. Last summer then, the City Council took the formal step to approve me, among 30 other people from across central Iowa, to work on a steering committee to prove what's called a Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, or CEDS, and that's a critical part of the EDD designation. So right now, that designation has been forwarded to the U.S. Economic Development Administration, and we're pending approval on that. As I mentioned, one of the reasons to form an EDD is to have more access to these federal programs. And in fact, the stormwater facility that Aaron mentioned just before this, we are applying for a grant of up to $1.5 million to assist in funding a $5.5 million project. So it's not an insignificant amount. We learned about that grant opportunity and are able to apply for it simply because we are in the EDD designation process now. So 5 bullet points left. As part of this EDD formation, the MPO also proposes to have a staff member administer it through a new entity called the Mid-Iowa Planning Alliance. We'll call that MIPA. And the federal government funds half of the staff member to staff MIPA, and the other half comes from member governments that raise their hand and say, we want to be a part of this as well. It is absolutely voluntary to be a member of MIPA, but joining gives a local government access to the technical assistance in applying for the federal funding. So for your consideration tonight is a resolution that would do two things. One, it would indicate the city's commitment to join MIPA for the remainder of this fiscal year and then next fiscal year, and commit to dues that are based on 15 cents per capita. That's for Urbandale and any government. And so the remainder of this fiscal year, which would cover 3 months, would be $1,709.25. And then for fiscal year 22-23, it'd be $6,837. Of course, and this is important to say, there are no guarantees that as a result of doing this or making this investment, we'll get more grant funds, but it is worth pointing out that if this $1.5 million grant does come through, that's a really good return on our investment. And I think John Larson and John Conyer and AJ and I would all agree that MPO's technical assistance and support in the process has been really almost essential to getting this grant application done on time. So with that, if there are any questions, I will do my best to answer them.
Thank you, Curtis. And as we were speaking before the meeting, just last week's MPO meeting, we were having an update from Gunner on this, and many other jurisdictions have signed on to this, so I feel comfortable that we're doing the right thing on.
Great. Did he mention how many approximately?
I think probably there are at least 15 right now so far.
Great. So we're north of a dozen now.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
And just out of curiosity, would this 6,800, assuming everything, would that be a continuous fee that we would likely pay, not just in 23, but 24, 25, 26?
Likely so. Yep. And we'll be able to make that decision on an annual basis. If we're getting, if we're confident in the process and are seeing a return, then we can continue.
All right. Any further discussion or questions? Is there a motion?
Move to approve council letter 6952.
Motion by Kroll.
Second.
Second by Blake. Discussion, please vote. That passes. Item 8.3 is to consider the design services agreement for the 2022 community entrance sign project. John Larson is still online, I believe, and would answer any questions if there are any on this. Is there a motion?
Did Confluence do the presentation that was presented to us earlier this year? Was that somebody else? Are we hiring someone else?
Nope, this is John. I don't believe Confluence did a presentation, but they have done the initial study and have done the other designs.
What presentation did we?
For the
No.
Douglas Avenue.
Yeah, this is different.
Two guys.
That Shive Hattery did the presentation related to Douglas Parkway and the beautification of the plantings.
Oh, this is just the sign. Okay.
The signage, yeah.
I was thinking.
Yep, this is.
I was thinking that's what this was. Clearly, it's been a day.
Yep.
Okay, I'm back on the same page as everybody else now.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Move council letter 6944.
Motion by Blake.
Second.
Second by Carberry Montgomery. Discussion, please vote. That item passes. Item 9, mayor and council items. Adam?
Larry, wish you were here at the chambers, but understand, obviously, a lot of sickness is still going around, so continue to stay safe.
Hope you're feeling better, Larry. Amy?
I'd echo the same. Be smart, wear your mask.
Absolutely. Bridget?
Well, I will also encourage people to wear masks and everything, but the focus of my life over the last few weeks has been show choir. And I just want to say that the schools that Urbandale has in them are doing amazing in show choir. West Des Moines, Johnston, Urbandale, Waukee. I've all got to see all of them perform, and I just cannot say enough about how fantastic they are all doing, and I love show choir, and that's for Jason Menke on the Urbandale School Board. But no, seriously, it's been a joy to see the kids back out really putting on a show, so congratulations to all of our schools.
Yeah, absolutely, thank you. Larry, you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for working with me. I know I am positive for COVID, so that's why I'm home. I'd rather keep it to myself this time. I just wanted to congratulate Officer Pacheco. I had the honor of seeing him awarded the Law Enforcement Professional of the Year last week. And then on the topic of the Urbandale Police, they are doing their Citizens Academy, and the registration deadline is the 2nd of February. I know both my wife and I are signed up for that, so we look forward to other folks in that class.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks, Larry. Matt?
Yes, sorry, I can't sign up for the Citizen Academy this year. My wife was like, you did some military stuff last year. You can take a year off doing any other training. But nothing too much. I would actually say, since this is sitting in front of me, I want to give a little shout out to the League of Cities, because we've already had some bills that have been just kind of really targeted. Like there was one bill that was going to outlaw our ability to regulate stormwater at all. And that has luckily been fought back. So I just want to give a shout out to League of Cities for representing us in the interest of cities up at the Capitol, because we need that voice, so.
Absolutely. Robert does a good job, I think.
Haven't we normally gotten, like on Fridays, like an update from them?
Yes, I was missing them, so you may want to check your spam.
Okay,
They were going to spam, so we made arrangements so that it's no longer going to spam here.
okay,
They changed their network server.
Okay.
SB, so it might say IS League on it.
okay,
So if you get that, that is legitimate, but check your spam, and there's a mechanism by which you can take that off the spam.
Okay.
list. If you have problems, let us know. We'll get James right on it, because I was not seeing them.
okay.
And I finally contacted the league and I said, what's up? And they said, this is how we're sending it. And sure enough, it was in my spam.
Okay,
So,
Yeah, I haven't seen him either.
so, because, yeah, that's good to know, Matt.
There's some other ones. That was the one I kept going up to him. I was like, you're killing this bill, right? Like, we're not yes, it's gone. So, yes, yeah.
Yep, good. Thanks for that. And keep watching out for us up there too. If there's something, anything else you see?
I had another subcommittee. I'd rather been in that one for myself.
If you see anything that says preemption on it, please let us know.
Will do.
All right. I don't believe I have anything further to add. We do have a budget work session again on Saturday and Monday, to the extent that we still need to do that. So we will be spending some quality time together on Saturday. So study up for Saturday, and if you have any questions, get a hold of AJ or Nikki on any budget questions prior to that time, so we can work through that. But I appreciate everybody's time and effort to come in and get that done, and we'll get that done. So with that, is there a motion and a second to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
a reminder, the dinner for Thursday